The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily represent those of this station or its management.
This is the Stockwell Roche Show, giving you real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Josh Roche.
What is a conservator? What is a guardian? What's the difference? Assisted living. How do you get involved in assisted living? All these topics today we're going to be discussing with you. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
I'm Josh Roche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
And you're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show every Sunday at 10 a.m. here on AM 1280 The Patriot. Great show for you today. Lots of very valuable information for you or a family member or someone you know that might have issues with where they go after something happens, and what you can do to plan. We're all about planning and being prepared and educating you and helping you. And we have great people with us today. Rebecca Rich, who's a conservator, and Tina, who is an owner of Nurturing Care, is here as well. So, but first and foremost, Josh, market update.
Are you ready for me?
Oh, and Maddie B.
We got to talk about Maddie.
Gradient Mortgage is here as well.
Thanks for being with the show, you guys, Maddie and Tina and Rebecca.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
Should we get into the market update, Jason? Is that what you're?
Yes, the market update, okay. Always. How is the market? It's been great on the media.
It's been great on the media. It's been great in the local market. Again, basically what I go off of is the statistics that are provided by us from our Northstar MLS. And basically what we're seeing right now in our local market is from this time last year, as far as new listings, we're up, again, 8.5% from this time last year. Pending sales were up 16.0% in pending sales. So that's a great number. That means people are out there shopping and buying houses. They're getting offers are getting accepted. And then our inventory is still down. It's down 5.6% right now. So it's a great time to list your house if you're out there and you're thinking about putting your house on the market this spring. This summer, now's the time to do it. At least talk to an agent and get a game plan put together, because there are buyers out there. The statistics show that the buyers are out there buying houses right now, and they're getting accepted offers. And in our inventory, we just don't have enough inventories, which that means it is a seller's market right now. Let's get your house listed, and let's call me or Jason. We'd love to help you out with
those. Are great stats. Increased inventory, but where pending sales are up dramatically, and our increased new listings, but overall inventory, same week last year, this time we're down.
Yeah,
still.
down
so
5.6.
I'm seeing massive activity in the market with even the upper end stuff.
Yeah. You know what? I actually did a listing appointment just this morning on my way in, and that's a $700,000 house on the lakes up in Blaine, and it's even the luxury homes, the ones that are available. They're selling. So let's get those. If you do have a house like that, let's talk about that, because there's buyers out there looking to buy something.
And that might be due to maybe the interest rates, Maddie B.
And great segue. Appreciate that.
Yep. See how he's good.
Interest rates are great. I was part of a BNI networking group this morning, and we were talking about where interest rates are at. We're at a historic low right now on conventional mortgages. You're putting 20% down. You're seeing rates below 4%. I can't tell you the last time I saw that. Not only that, but every buyer that I currently have out right now that is looking for homes, they're going into multiples.
Yeah, multiple offers.
Whether it's $100,000, I'm going to fix it up because I have to build my own equity, to the $700,000 deals like Josh is talking about. People are out looking right now with the inventory being as low as it is. You're going in for a battle on every purchase agreement you're doing. Like I'm telling my clients, and I'm meeting with the realtors as we're meeting with the client, and we're drafting up, why are you going to want a house? I want a letter written out for you. So when you submit your offer, not just my pre-approval letter, but a letter from you explaining why you want this house. Why do you want, what do you want your own home for? Like, what is your, what school district are you trying to put your kids into? What are you trying to do in regards to like raising your family? People want to know that. That's going to help you win your offers, I think.
Any thing you can do to put your offer in advantage, especially when you are in a multiple offer situation, is helpful. Sometimes it's cheesy to write a letter and say, no, I love your home and I do all, but
it helps.
It helps sometimes. And you never know if you get that person on the other end who feels that or or connects with that or sees that that's the person, and it may not be the best offer sometimes. I mean, that happens too. So
Absolutely.
Well, I think also when you're looking, when you're going to list a house, make sure you're working with a good agent. A lot of agents actually have your home sold before you even put it on the market, because they have advanced technology and the networking to actually have that house sold before you actually list it. So we call that pre-listing. And I know with our group, we have a huge network of people that we actually get the home sold about 24% of the time before the house we can even list the house. So
and that's huge. As a seller, you want that. You want to work with agents like Jason and Josh here who actually have a big sphere of influence, so that they can actually, as you're getting your house ready, they can start letting people know in their sphere of influence that, hey, I have this coming on. Do you have buyers in this neighborhood?
Yep. And the goal is to maximize the dollar value you get, but also make sure it's in a timeline that works for you. So there's all kinds of advantages and disadvantages to all kinds of different offers depending upon financing and a zillion different things. And that's why we're here to help.
With Maddie too, products have changed too with conventional, and we're seeing different down payment.
We've got programs that are with conventional right now that are as little as 3% down. If you qualify for Minnesota Housing and Finance Authority's programs, you can go in and basically get no money down. You're going to put $1,000 into a transaction, and that's it.
And we've got that one that we're working on right now up in the northern suburbs, USDA.
USDA, another 100% financing. If you happen to be a veteran, there's 100% financing there. Like, the programs are out here, and with the way our market's going right now, you need to get approved as fast as you can if you're thinking about doing this, and get your feet on the street and into some houses.
And I think there'll be a lot of sellers coming forward here in the next month to 2 months as well to put their houses on the market as now's the time. They've waited maybe 5 years.
And I think as a seller too, you got to really think about the interest rates too, because that's what's driving buyers right now. If you're going to wait and list your house next year, rates are going to be higher.
Yeah. What if rates are at 5%?
And then you're not going to have this demand of buyers out there, and you're going to have you're going to see your it's like it's economics 101. You're going to see your price of your home go down because there's not as much demand anymore in the marketplace for your house. So take advantage of these interest rates if you're a seller as well, because that's what's driving these buyers to go out and look.
Yep. Take advantage. Give us a call here if you have any questions about that or anything for Maddie B, Josh, myself. 651-400-0773. 651-400-0773. Talk TwinCitiesRealEstate.com. You can find everything there. And if now's the time, now's the time. If now's not the time, there's always going to be real estate sales and things going on. Our job is to give you the current market condition, which is pretty good all the way around for buyers or sellers. So moving into, because I'm anxious to talk about a lot of these things, because I think it's very helpful for you out there. There's a lot of people in this situation, and a lot of people that have had something with a conservator or with an assisted living or with daycare with their elder, and that age group is growing, as we talked about on past shows, and it's a very, very sensitive topic for families because there's a lot of things that go on to it, and then and it's also very, very important to have people that you know, that you trust, and that you can have confidence in to handle certain things with your parents, or if it's just you. Let's say it's just you and you're looking, and you may need something down the road for yourself. So without further ado, we have Rebecca Rich. She is a conservator with Guardian and Conservator Services. Hi, Rebecca. How you doing?
Fabulous.
Thanks for being on the show. We're very, very grateful to have you here. And we also have Tina Housted.
Very good.
And she's with Nurturing Care, and it is an assisted living home for people that need assisted living. So
I'm excited about the show today. I don't know much about this topic, so I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say today.
I went to Rebecca invited me to an association meeting for conservators yesterday, and you learn a lot, and you know, Josh and I, we're not in that age group, but we have, hear people.
Neither's Maddie.
And Maddie B's not either. And neither are there our two guests here, Tina and Rebecca. But it's a big, big segment going on right now, and there's a lot of people needing that, right? Is that what you're seeing out there, Rebecca and Tina, with people wanting to get in?
Absolutely. You've got and it's not just limited to your senior or your geriatric group either. A lot of the services that you can have, you have a plethora of services.
All the way from any age group.
Like
Pretty much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
give me an example, like a age group or someone below that general idea of what that looks like.
Because I think of it
I
as
think of it-
anybody
right.
who's kind of in
So
their
is it like-
70s, 80s, 60s maybe. If
Like
they're
handicap, or is it like? I mean,
I have clients who range from age 19 to in their 90s.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's all over. So
I didn't know that. Interesting.
So Rebecca Rich, Guardian and Conservator Services. Just when we get into the next segment with Rebecca and Tina, we'll talk about their stories, what got them into this business, because it is essentially you're working, but it's a very service oriented business, and you have to care. That's what you're really after, is caring for the people that need your help. But before we go on break, I wanted to ask so that people know, and you out there know, what is a conservator? First off, let's ask that to Rebecca, since she is a conservator.
So a conservator is an individual or corporation who is court appointed to handle financial matters for another person. This person is appointed by usually the probate court.
Oh,
Okay, so this, and I hear probate, I think someone passed away.
I think deceased.
Is
right.
that
right?
Not
Not
No.
the case.
Okay, so
Oh.
so probate can still be involved a lot when someone doesn't pass away.
Absolutely.
I didn't know
Okay.
that. See?
So conservator handles financial means for someone still alive appointed by the court.
Correct.
Okay, so that's
Could that be somebody who's handicapped, who's lost mental capacity, or
what are some examples of scenarios?
So somebody who is appropriate for conservatorship would be an individual who is deemed incapacitated in some way. It could be somebody who's unable to manage their property, their business. It could be somebody who has an inability to receive and evaluate information or make decisions for themselves. It could be somebody who has property that will be wasted or dissipated unless management is provided, unless money that's needed for support, care, education purposes, health, welfare. It can be people who are entitled to support, and all those needs need to be identified by an individual or a professional who can evaluate the situation and determine why this individual is not able to make those decisions for themselves anymore.
And that is a very important statement by Rebecca there earlier too, that it's a judge. It has to be appointed to have a conservator. So we're going to hit break, and we'll be back. We're going to talk more about guardianship, conservatorship, what's the difference in assisted living with Tina and Rebecca. Thanks for listening.
I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
Sing it, Josh.
I got you, babe.
Say our love won't pay the rent.
I don't want to sing anymore.
Or it's earned our money.
We're back. You're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
Conservatorship, guardianship, assisted living is a topic today. Rebecca Rich, guardian and conservators, and Tina Haugstead, nurturing care as an assisted living company. Rebecca, when we were on break, you talked about what is a conservator. Before break, what is a conservator and what do they do? What got you into? Tell us about yourself. What
Yeah, tell
got
us
you
your story.
into the business, and what got
Why
you
this?
to be a
Why this?
conservator?
Why this type of business?
So I used to be a owner of a residential care home, like Tina is. And while I was running an assisted living, I had the opportunity to advocate for a vulnerable adult who was placed on hospice by a power of attorney who doesn't have that authority to place somebody on hospice, number one. And my client at the time was still capable, she was still deemed competent and capable of making her own decisions.
Oh wow.
So that was an interesting event that prompted me to look further into advocating for vulnerable adults and adult protection. And I had the opportunity to advocate for this individual, get her taken off of hospice, get her the medical attention she needed, and she ended up living about another 2 years.
Oh.
So that was very powerful.
Yeah, that is
and,
powerful.
I really enjoyed that experience. I followed that up by taking a class with Volunteers of America to learn more about guardianship and conservatorship. And from there, I networked with a few attorneys and started accepting cases through Hennepin County courts.
Yep.
And that's how I got started.
Because they're appointed by a judge, if you remember from last segment. So a judge appoints the people to a conservator. And then, so it came from...
Is it a
I've
probate
seen-
attorney? Is that who you network with? Is it a
Correct.
Probate attorney? Okay.
And it came, Rebecca, for you, it came from a first-hand situation where you saw someone being taken
Right.
advantage of. Is that what, kind of potentially taken
That's-
advantage of, or?
Correct. They were taken advantage of, and it really came down to a money situation.
It's which a lot of it you hear about the bad stories or the horror stories that you hear is someone's being taken advantage of financially. So that's very good. That's
So
great.
was that power of attorney? You can't do that? Is that...
A power of attorney can only make decisions over financial matters.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what conservator does. What they're appointed, and it's by the judge.
Okay.
So it's through, and then they go to you, and then how do people know? I mean, the judge appoints you, so you have to have some proof that you're not going to take advantage of. They audit you guys, or what do they?
Yeah,
do
how's
for you?
that? How's that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. Before you can be appointed to any cases, you do have to go through a background check that the state runs on you.
Okay.
And you also, in order to be appointed as a conservator, you have to be bonded. And so you have to go through a process with a bonding company and submit your information to make sure that you don't have
Meet the requirements,
anything
right.
financially horrific in your background, which might indicate you would have the potential to maybe steal or not represent your client in the best
Yeah, so
professional
they're checking
way.
you out, and so if you're listening out there, you're thinking. What I'm thinking sometimes is, well, why doesn't the heirs? Why wouldn't the daughter, the cousin, the brother? Why wouldn't they be the ones to step in and take care of it? Why would they make a judge appoint some stranger to my
Right.
family member?
Yeah, how does it get to that point?
And how does it get to be so many cases
Right.
of this? Because you'd think family members
Right.
would watch out for other family members and take care of them and handle their stuff, right? I mean, what's going on?
You think it's more economics? Is that one of the? I know that's
Several
one.
reasons.
Right.
First, there are state statutes that outline who is first in line to become a guardian or conservator, and sometimes there are family members who don't want the responsibility for whatever reasons. They're too
Yeah.
busy with their own lives, or sometimes there are family dynamics, and you can't necessarily appoint one child when another child has a different point of view.
Oh,
Sometimes the individual doesn't have any family or any friends.
no.
Sometimes you need a professional to come in to eliminate any potential problems that could exist by appointing somebody else.
Kind of
Yep.
becoming a mediator of sorts.
Correct.
Yeah, I seen some of the things that Rebecca does firsthand, and it is very stressful. It's very mediating. You're a mediator. You have to be able to remain calm, and you have people on sides fighting. They're usually fighting over property and money. That's kind of the gist of it here. Money makes people crazy sometimes. So you see firsthand, and this is great that there's a system in place and that steps in and says, okay, we're going to appoint someone here that is bonded and that is audited, that can take care of your situation, and that everybody can trust. So going to the assisted living piece, and Tina Haugstead, nurturing care and assisted living, that is where, explain what assisted living is to someone. It says it in the name, but you're helping out with them on their living, for their living, but go into detail on what that is about and how you got into it and those things.
You know, the first thing I can say about assisted living, it's usually somebody who needs to have 2 or more services. So they need somebody that can give medication management to assure that they take their medications on time. So giving them more assistance to their daily living. We also call those ADLs too. Also, maybe they need to have round-the-clock care. There's somebody that might have a memory care issue. And so that's where and believe me, I don't think there's anybody out there that hasn't been touched with some type of person they know or see. It's becoming one of the largest health problems in our in our nation right now across the world. It's
You
not
mean
immune.
the problem of not having a place that's going to help them when
Exactly.
they need help, right? Okay.
Exactly. It's really becoming, we're seeing the baby boomers now. And some of these ailments are starting to inflict at younger and younger ages. It's just amazing. How I got into assisted living is, I knew there was something missing in my life, but I think it took my mother-in-law to kind of push me forward in it. And she actually she's in long-term care herself, in probably the mecca of businesses down in Arizona.
Yep.
And we were down there, and she says, "Did you guys ever?" We're entrepreneurs at heart, so my background's been financial services or, any of that type. And my husband and I kind of looked at each other and said, "This is quite interesting."
Right.
And you can always see the business model of it, but in my heart, it always had to be the caring of people. And I was in financial services. That's a whole different avenue as it is. I really liked what I was seeing. And it took probably a good 3.5 years of research on our end to maybe come up and just kind of bring that aspect and level to ourselves, saying, we want to do this.
Right.
This is where we want. But where do you want to do it? There's such a even in the state of Minnesota ourselves, I'm sure you guys at Realtors can see how many seniors that we have in our own population here, and how Minnesota's got to deal with it. And we decided to stay here. Arizona would be a great catch. What temperatures? Anyway, so in this case, we brought the model here. It was, do you want a 100-bed facility, or do you want a smaller, more intimate kind of area? And we really chose the model that was best suited for us. And doing more smaller care ratio meant you gave better quality of
Quality
care.
care. Just like schools,
So-
just like putting your
Exactly.
kids in school.
And
Yeah.
a lot more
Right.
individualized
Right.
attention to a fewer number of individuals.
So for assisted living, Tina, is it appointed, or is it something that the family comes to you and says or is it both, or what's the
So
scenario?
license, obviously, you got to be
Yeah,
licensed.
we
right?
carry 2 licenses with the state of Minnesota, and then we carry 2 more with the city that our house is in. So we're overlooked very well.
Yep, that's good. Yep.
Exactly. And also the state of Minnesota puts other things in place now with lessons learned. Now we have to have an RN on staff, so registered nursing has to be there for our clients. I prefer to use certified nursing assistants for my staff. I use a personal care attendant, but they have to be really right up with the certified nursing assistants. What that brings is it brings that well-rounded amount of care to somebody. You could have a personalized care assistant. You could have, but your assisted living is basically transitioning out of your home and going into an environment where you have 24/7 care. So this
Yep.
is awake night staff. So your assisted living tends to be awake night staff, and then you always have that nursing care right there helping you along the way. So.
And is this something that just that's appointed, or is this something that someone says,
To
you know
your
what,
question.
I my mom or my sister can't do it anymore. We need to have her go into assisted living, or him to go,
Yeah, great question. I'm going to say 90% of the time it's a family that gets reactive to the situation. So they're actually going out there and trying to find something right away. Mom fell, broke her hip. I got to find something right now. So instead of the planning process, it's not quite there. But sometimes, as I've been working with Rebecca, it is appointed. Rebecca then has to find the establishment for that individual. So I work with conservators and fiduciary and all that, just to help find the right place and fit for that person.
Yeah, that's great. So they, so it's both, and then that was a great point you made, Tina, about reactive. We all talk about it when buying, with Maddie B on getting a mortgage. We talk about with Josh and I about buying a house. Plan ahead. So, and it's hard to do in
Absolutely.
this situation because it's a family member, and they probably are resisting moving out of their home that they've been in
It's a
forever.
tough topic, too.
But then,
Yeah.
heaven forbid, someone falls, breaks something, and now they have to. So now you're put in a bind where maybe you do a little research, maybe you reach out ahead of time, maybe you try to do some convincing, some counseling with the person ahead of time and say, hey, this is what we should do before something bad happens.
And to that point, I do a lot of, if my place isn't the right place, I'm reaching out to other establishments. So I have a network of resources for people as well. But more so, I do presentations to communities, different kinds, churches, community centers, basically saying this is how you plan ahead for your future. It's never too soon
Right.
to
Yeah.
put healthcare directives together.
Right.
It can happen at any
Yeah,
time.
you got to do the health. So thank you so much, Tina. So we are going to have a lot
That's
of
awesome.
information
I mean, that was
on
great.
Our website, talktwincitiesrealestate.com, with Tina's information, Rebecca's information, some valuable links and other resources for you. So please go to that site and check it out, or go to our Facebook page. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
With 2 cats in the yard, life used to be so. Will you help me? Tell me what you want from me. Can you help me?
You're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
I'm Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
We're talking about conservatorship, assisted living, what that means to you and your family. We have 2 great expert guests here, Rebecca Rich and Tina Haugstead. Tina runs and owns an assisted living home. Rebecca is a conservator. You can find all their information on talktwincitiesrealestate.com, or go to our Facebook page. If you'd like to reach Tina Haugstead directly, if you know someone or have someone that has a question about assisted living, you can contact her at 952-688-1106, 952-688-1106. And her website is nurturingcareassistedliving.com. And if you want to reach out to Rebecca Rich about conservatorship and have any questions in regards to that, or need a guardian and things like that, you can go to her phone number is 952-239-1799, 952-239-1799. Guardian and Conservator Services.com is the website, and we'll have all that available on our website as well. Upcoming shows, if you're listening in the next upcoming weeks: Lights, Camera, Action, Big City Lights, Big City Lifestyle, talking about downtown lifestyle. And after that, we're going to be talking about land trust, land bank, and bank owned. What are they? How do they work? And then co-ops, timeshares, condos, the do's and don'ts. So those will be some of our upcoming shows coming in the next few weeks. Back to the conservatorship and assisted living. On break, Tina, Rebecca, and I were talking about some things. And I think something that a lot of people may have questions about is, you have someone in your family or know someone and they need help. What do you do? What are some tips? What are some steps? How can you get them to be convinced? Because, like, my grandfather would never, unless he fell and did break something bad or had a stroke or something, would never want to go into an assisted living situation. How do you do that? I mean, I was joking on the break about having the TV show where they have the interventions. Yes, thanks, Matty B. Where they where they have interventions, and everybody, the family gets around and says, "Grandma, you're going." I mean, what are some soft approach, or how can you do it here, Tina and Rebecca? What have you recommend for people?
So in my field as guardian and conservator, a guardian conservator is only appointed by the court when all other least restrictive alternatives have been tried.
Okay.
So it's probably deemed that there is no family, or no family willing to step up to take the responsibility, or the individual is creating their own roadblocks to being helped or getting the services that they need.
Okay.
It has to be stubborn.
Okay.
One reason.
Yeah.
So it has to be something significant to eventually make it to the courts, where somebody's going to be appointed to step in and start making those important life decisions.
Yep. So yours is appointed by the court. So there isn't really, when you get a case, Rebecca, there's no convincing someone. They're already they've already been in that. They know what's going on. Everybody else knows what's going on, correct? On the heirs or anybody, potential friends or family that might have interest.
Everybody usually knows what's going on. The person who is about to be appointed a guardian or conservator has the opportunity to show up in court and dispute the case. Dispute and
say, I don't need this, I don't want this.
And present their side to the judge or referee to see if they can persuade the court otherwise.
Okay. But there's usually a very good reason why they're there in the first place, so that is that overturned a lot? Or I shouldn't say overturned, but whatever the legal term or whatever would be, they reverse that course a lot, or is it something where it's...
I'm sure it's happened. I don't have exact figures.
But you, has it ever happened?
In all the cases that I've been appointed to, it's never happened.
Yeah, so they're usually there because they need someone to help them, and that's why they have you there.
They
that
need
there.
somebody, or all other options have been tried.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for you, Tina, what can you say to, you teach classes and you said you go to churches, community centers. What can you tell people out there if they have someone or know someone that might need this, but they don't know how to quite get that person to say, hey, let's do this before? It's a touchy subject.
Yeah, it is.
Very touchy. And
you've been in this house for 40 years.
Right.
I don't want you to fall. Oh, you're overreacting. I'm fine. I mean, there's a zillion different ways of objections, right? So
Right. I mean, and justify that. I mean, people should stay in their house as long as they can.
Yep.
So in that respect, just try to sit down and talk with them is always the best part. But understand that person first and foremost. Don't look things through your eyes. Look through things through their eyes. What kind of person have they been through all these years? And that way you can kind of approach it on a question-orientated basis. I mean, what do you want to see in your future if something should happen? Bring it in a very gentle way, but, think of that person's personality. Are they a stern person? Do you bring things in a stern way? Like, Dad, what do you think? Would you actually live in an assisted living that's not nursing home living anymore? The stigma for them is, nursing home
It's
is
a nursing home.
and we're not. I mean, there's so many choices to keep them in their home as long as possible. I would want that. And so that's what you got to say. It's just a little bit more of that alternative care that can come along. There's programs out there for everybody. Try it. We do that all the time. I encourage the adult children to come in and bring their loved one in. Smell that grilled cheese sandwich. Smell that chocolate chip cookie that gets into the oven.
Yep.
Make them feel the environment, because maybe they don't have their mind, or maybe they are just too stubborn to see it, but yet or have their wits, whatever. Let them experience it for themselves. Let them make the choice, but lead them to their choices.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of other alternatives, and you have a network of people that if someone needs in-home care, if they want to go out into adult care just for the day or half-day session. I mean, there's all kinds of ways, but studies have shown that those things stimulate, especially if someone's a widow or widower and they're alone, those things, and the kids are busy or they're out of state, there's all kinds of examples now with our world of how we live all over the place now. We know people don't just stay on the farm anymore and live in the house next door or down the road.
Exactly.
So they need people that need that stuff, and that keeps the Alzheimer's, it keeps the dementia, not eliminates it, but it lowers the side effects or the effects of it, right? Or it kind of can minimize
it.
Yeah.
You kind of defer it from accelerating at a faster pace sometimes. And there's lots of caregivers out there. We're family now. Where family feels like they got to take on that responsibility. So you do have those families out there. They have mom or dad or their loved one living with them. And believe me, there's a lot of husbands out there that take the pride, or the wives, that I'm going to take care of this person. It doesn't hurt to ask for help. I believe we're all in a village.
You might need a break sometimes.
Respite care, we take a tremendous amount of respite care. I mean, 1 or 2 week break will help you immensely get you've got to take care of yourself.
And it might help your relationship with that loved one, because if you're doing everything in the home, your home with them or their home, and that's when, if you're married, that. I know that. I mean, my wife is great, but we have her, we're around each other a lot, and sometimes
we all
get
need
into an
our
argument.
space.
So it's good to have a little, hey, I'm going to go to the mall for the day, or in this case, I'm going to go to a daycare and just play bingo with my friends for the day, and those sorts of things would be beneficial for people.
Absolutely.
And the relationship that you currently have. Before I forget, we talked about what's a guardian. I want to switch back to Rebecca, because I promised you guys that we would learn the difference between a conservator and a guardian. So, Rebecca, you told us what a conservator is. They're appointed by a judge to handle all things money related or financial related to a person who needs it. What's a guardian?
So, and just to elaborate a little bit more, both a guardian and conservator have certain things that they can do. And those are all outlined in Minnesota state statutes.
So there's statutes for this. If
Very
everybody wants to
specific
research all this, you can go to the statute book, which Rebecca has here handy, which is great.
She did.
She's a nurse, which is very caring, but also you don't have to be a lawyer, but you have to understand a lot of the legalities, I would imagine, right?
Correct. And if somebody does want to reference those statutes, it's Minnesota Statute 524, and there's a boatload of information that you can spend hours and hours and hours reviewing.
So that's for Statute 524, Minnesota Statute 524 for conservators and guardians. It goes over a lot of the state laws on that.
And
correct?
more.
And more.
And
Okay.
more.
Correct.
So what is the difference in between? So a conservator, money. What does a guardian do? Are
A
they appointed,
guardian,
or-
also appointed by the court.
Okay.
Both have to be appointed. A guardian makes decisions over personal decisions. Anything that has to do with the person themselves. They have custody over the protected person. They have a duty to provide for their care, comfort, and maintenance needs. They have to take care of the protected person's clothing, furniture, vehicles, other personal effects. They can make decisions regarding anything medical. They can.
So it's more encompassing. It's a greater responsibility, is what I'm gathering, than a conservator. Not to minimize either, but they can handle a lot of the other. Or is it?
I wouldn't say that. I would say
Okay.
both have their own specific duties that they have to focus on. And a conservator, though, has to, everything financial for
So
the
here's
individual.
maybe to simplify it for people if you're out there. Conservator handle the person
Yeah,
who has a
financial.
conservator still can make their own life decisions, but they don't handle their money decisions.
Correct.
And then a guardian, they may not be able to handle some of their life decisions, but they can maybe handle some of their money decisions.
Correct. Yep. You could be
Okay.
assigned you could be appointed a guardian, or you could be appointed a conservator, or both.
Or both.
both.
You can have both. Yes.
Correct.
It's awesome. Rebecca Rich, Tina Haugstead, Maddie B. We're going to talk next about money. How does it work? Can you get a mortgage for this stuff? Can you do a reverse mortgage? What do you do with your property? All kinds of information. We'll be back.
Don't blink. Just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25.
I do love this song.
I love that.
I do
Oh,
too.
finally, we played a country song on here. I love it. Thanks, Chris. You're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh O'Shea, Remax Advantage Plus.
Great expert panel here today. Maddie B is here from Gradient Mortgage. We're going to get into some questions for him now because we're talking money, money talks. And Rebecca Rich and Tina Haugstead, thanks so much for being here and talking about these things. We've told you about what a guardian is, what a conservator is, what it means to have to own an assisted living place, and what that means for people. And we have a lot of there's so many different. It's like selling a house, Josh,
Yeah.
or doing a mortgage. Every single person, because we're dealing with people, every single person is different, and every transaction in a house is different. Every mortgage is different. No two are alike.
Well, the thing is, you guys are touching people's lives because you guys are getting involved in
Absolutely.
that, and that's to me, I love being a part of this type of show, is hearing people that like you guys are out there and you are really touching people's lives and helping families out, and
To
that
help
that,
this-
that to me
to-
is inspiring, and I love having you guys on the show today for that.
Thank you.
And they're all
Yeah, thank
different, and no. So there's so many nuances. There's so many. Each case is different. That's why you
absolutely.
guys have to manage so many. And Rebecca informed me earlier that she, gets appointed cases, and if you just have to turn some of them down because you're dealing and handling the people that you have, and you don't want to do disservice to people by saying, "Oh, I'm going to take on 500 cases and never be able to get anybody, taken care of."
Correct. You have
So-
to have a good balance,
Yeah.
balanced caseload.
And there's a zillion different ways to help someone who needs a situation, whether they're 18 or they're 90. And they're all in home. There's out of home. There's assisted living. There's conservator. There's guardian. There's
But how do you pay for all
daycare.
that? I mean, what are reasons that how can we
Exactly.
how do we pay for that? And I know Maddie B, you've got some. Was it a reverse mortgage?
A
type
reverse
program?
mortgage. As we were sitting here talking about this, and the stubborn, bullheaded, I don't want to leave my house, because my grandmother was that lady. Yep. She wanted to stay at home. I remember her having oxygen tanks brought to the house. She had the long oxygen hose that ran down the hallway, and she was kind of tethered to her first floor. I don't think she ever went down to the laundry room anymore. My mom was over there helping out, and reverse mortgages when my grandmother passed on weren't a big thing, weren't a big piece of my business at that point. But as our baby boomer generation has started to age into the area where they actually start qualifying for some of this stuff, most of the people that are going to qualify for these, I'm going to assume that a lot of them have been paying on their mortgage. They've lived in this house for 25, 30, 40 years. House may be paid off, may have a small, tiny little mortgage, and a reverse mortgage, if they want to stay in the home, is a great way to, number one, if they have a mortgage payment, to find a way to eliminate it, to get some cash, to be able to stay in their home, to be able to pay for the care for all of this stuff. It's
an option. There's been a lot of, I hear some negative things in, perception of reverse mortgage. But what else
In some cases, it's great.
It's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's another, you have an asset. What are you going to do? Pay Josh and I commission to sell it, and then where are you going to go?
Right.
What if you want to stay there? Why not use that to stay there? And, there's...
And then pay from some of that money that you're getting to help out with other services that we were talking about break.
Think about the money as a son or daughter that you're not going to have to put out, because you're going to get you're going to get the benefit, I guess, and I hate saying it like that, but when the elder parent passes on, there's that inheritance, but you could offset having to spend all that money by allowing them to actually use what's theirs. You got your house. Right. It's your equity. Right. You spent your life here.
Right.
It's your life's blood into this place. And, I was reading an article, Jason, that you sent me earlier that was talking about, a lady having to go do an estate sale with her mom, and her mom was having to get rid of her Hummels and all of the stuff that she had spent, 30, 40 years collecting. And it was kind of heart-wrenching, and it's, made me really think, like, if this was a couple that could have done a reverse mortgage and had somebody like you guys who were able to either come in and do in-house care or refer them off to do in-house care, maybe they could have stayed for a little while longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's one thing definitely to consider, is that if you have the means or have that, definitely reach out, ask questions about that. And that's why we bring experts on here and people that actually care and will help you. And Matty B, you can always reach out to him anytime. You can find him on our TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com or our Facebook page, or call 952-261-5422.
Now, I know that we were talking at break, and you mentioned something about the state having some programs as well. Can you go over that?
Absolutely. The state of Minnesota has a phenomenal set of resources, and Tina and I use them all the time with her clients in the assisted living, or my clients who are living out in the community or in assisted livings. And one of my favorites is the Senior Linkage Line. And if I could give their phone number.
Oh, yeah.
It's 800.
So this is a state run for help. Okay, great.
Yep. And I believe it is run by the Minnesota Board on Aging.
Okay.
Phenomenal resource. Everybody should write this number down. I'm going to give you 2 phone numbers.
Okay.
This one is basically a one-stop shop where they can answer any questions regarding how to get signed up with long-term care assistance in your home. They can answer questions about what kind of assets you can retain to qualify for services.
That's a great thing to know. Yep.
If you have too much money, where you're over assets, they can provide you resources where you can still find individuals, companies to come into your home, so that, and the whole goal of some of these programs is to be able to keep you in your home.
Right.
Same thing with reverse mortgages.
Right. Yep.
Absolutely.
That's the goal. So I highly recommend you call the Senior Linkage Line. Their phone number is 1-800-333-2433.
One more time.
1-800-333-2433. And the second number that I recommend individuals calling who want to be able to stay in their home and receive services in their home, and this is really a first number you can call to have somebody come out to the house, evaluate what the situation is, evaluate the asset information, and then determine which county program is going to best
Fit your need.
Fit the need.
Right.
Correct. And that number is to Public Health in Hennepin County. And also keep in mind, each county has their own phone number, and you can get your specific county's phone number from the Senior Linkage Line.
Okay.
They can give you all
and
that
we'll have
information.
all this on TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com and on our Facebook page as well. So we encourage you to go out there as well.
So the Public Health phone number is 612-596-0542. And they'll send an individual out to your home, and they'll go through all the application process. They'll talk about medical assistance. They'll talk about elderly waiver, which is another fabulous Hennepin County program, alternative care program, which all these
there's lots and lots of resources, and our job is to make sure you know about them and where to go. Because if you're sitting there and you don't know what to do or where to go, can be painful and also frustrating.
It can be stressful.
So.
Very stressful. And I've had wonderful conversations with people at the Senior Linkage Line. They are friendly. They'll give you the direction you need so that it saves you time and the hassle of trying to find what you need.
Okay, and then so thanks so much, Rebecca Rich. Tina Haugstead, where's your living? Your company is called Nurturing Care Assisted Living Home. Where is it located, and how can people reach and say, hey, I might have someone that might need assisted living?
We're located on the southwest corner of 494 and Highway 7 in Minnetonka. So
Okay.
just very small and intimate, but yet we have a powerhouse of resources there as well. I always say make an appointment ahead of time because this is somebody else's home. It's 6 dear residents of ours that live there.
Okay.
24/7 staff, so they always have the ability to take care of whatever your needs are in that establishment. So it's calling, touring, giving yourself the options, and what we do is if we're not able to help, we'll get you into the right direction.
And
So-
is it something where it's you're full with people, or people are full, the house is full, or is there availability, or what's the status?
Availability can change because in these type of establishments, we take everybody to end of life care. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I work
Right.
with a number. We bring in doctors. We have hospice care. We have the whole well-rounded type of connection for everybody. So that helps families as well. So-
Awesome. Well, I am very grateful. Thank you, Tina Haugstead, Nurturing Care Assisted Living Home, Rebecca Rich, Guardian Conservator Services, Maddie B, Gradient Mortgage, myself, Jason Stockwell.
And Josh Roche.
Go to talktwincitiesrealestate.com, talktwincitiesrealestate.com, and we'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Love yourself and love others.